Alrighty, we're going to take a little break in our Jarrett Walker coverage and move over to this recent board meeting because I want to see the public testimony and the general manager's report. Okay, that's important. So let's see who we got for testimony today. Okay, here's David Bouchard. Remember him. Let's see. There's only one person there.
Can I go first?
You bet. Good morning.
All right. Good morning.
The only one up here, so yes, you will go first.
Right. Good morning, directors. My name is David Bouchard. I am here representing Bus Riders Unite, which is a division of Opal Environmental Justice Oregon. And today I wanted to talk to you about the memorandum that you will be reviewing later today regarding how to implement the HB 2777 legislation. I will say that right now we are definitely pleased that Trimet is moving in the right direction when it comes to fare enforcement. The tiered system is a good start. The fact that you have 90 days to pay before it goes to court is also a good start. However, there are two things that I have a concern about, and so do our other members. The first thing is the initial fine, with the $75 fine. A lot of us at community groups were hoping to have a lower fine. We were hoping to have a $50 fine. We think that is a reasonable fine for first-time evaders. It's still $50. It's not something to trifle with, but it isn't so high that it really becomes a problem, and especially when you consider that the next fine up is like $90. So you're only looking at a $15 difference there. So we think that a lower fine would be great, even if it were, say, 60. Something, because it's at least, there's a bigger gap there between the two fines, and it would be, it just wouldn't be so high. And we know that one of the reasons that you recommended it is because of the data that you received. There was about 30-something% of people who you recorded as people who, quote, chanced the fare. I believe that data should be re-examined because there could be instances where people said they chanced it, but they didn't really want to say that they couldn't afford it because maybe maybe it's just hard for them to really admit that, or maybe they're chancing it because their budget is so tight that they're choosing between buying fare or buying some food for the night at the grocery store. So we really urge you to relook at that and really look, consider adopting a lower first-time fine. The other three tiers are not such an issue, but that first one is definitely problematic. Also, can I?
Please go.
Yeah, okay.
Please continue.
Yeah. So also one other thing, there's no reinstatement of a warning system, and I understand that this is probably, I'm sure probably staff had thought about that, and I know the fare evasion rate was really high back in the early 2010s, 20% or more. But there's a really good benefit to having a warning system. It helps to establish more trust because if let's say it's your first time, you just got into town, you were new to the system, you were staying with a friend, it's the very first time using the system, maybe you forgot to tap your hop card, or like my case, I had a couple days where my hop card wasn't working, it wasn't accepting my transaction even though I had the money in the bank to do it, it just wasn't working. It does now, but there are always instances, if you maybe have trouble loading the fare, you just forgot to activate the ticket, maybe the train just arrived and you didn't have time to find the reader. a warning for a first-time offense, I think, is reasonable, and I would really like to see some investigation into that and to see what you can do to implement that. And that's really all I have. This is a really good first step. We look forward to continuing to work with you on this. We thank you for, I want to thank Eric for meeting with us a few weeks ago. He was very receptive. He listened. He was reasonable for the most part. So I would say, let's just keep up the good work. Let's keep working together and come up with a fair ordinance that is fair to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Good comments. And for everybody watching, we have the
shut up, Warren. You know how I feel about this. First of all, this should have happened a long time ago. There should have been some kind of a mitigation, because those of you who don't track this stuff won't remember when Neil McFarlane gave his goddamn inauguration speech. He not only did he declare war on his employees, but he declared war on fare evaders. Now, I can find that speech and play it for you because I actually have it, but I'm not going to bother because I remember it, and that's all. And I'm only talking to myself anyway. Nobody, maybe 20 people will see this. But he also declared war on fare evaders, and he knew full well that these citations were going to hurt people. And don't forget, there'd been many, many years of laissez-faire attitude about fares. So they went from not caring about fares at all to now we're gonna cite you immediately, no second chance, and knowing that it's a $175 fare. So what you have here is interesting insofar as the same person's in charge today as was in charge when they implemented this abomination, this ridiculous predatory fare of $175. But you already know how I feel that government is a predator, and it preys on the population. The whole purpose of government is to suck wealth out of the population for the elites that are in control of the government. And don't forget, Trimet is government. Just take out the word Trimet, put in the word government. You take out the word City of Portland, put in the word government. Take out Donald Trump, federal government, just put in the word government, because they're all government by another name. You see, that's how they keep everybody confused. So, yeah, it's interesting that McFarlane started this war against the citizens of Multnomah County and area, and now they all of a sudden want to be reasonable. But then you have McFarlane also deciding that he wasn't going to bust his union employees' balls this time around after it's been nothing but fighting with him since the day he came in. And all of a sudden, right at the end of his reign. But now I'm starting to understand exactly what his role was. His role was to do all of this. You see, people blame McFarlane, but I know it's not McFarlane. He's just the agent, okay? He doesn't sit in a room and think, how am I going to fuck my employees? How am I going to screw these riders? He's not doing that, okay? These policies are set at the highest levels, like in Washington, and they make these decisions, and they're implemented at the local levels. And that's all he was doing, was he was implementing these policies that were set down from above him at the local level. But he's still the one that did it, which puts it on him, okay? He didn't have to do that, but he chose to do that, which makes him the guilty party. So anyway, yeah, I'm happy to see they got reasonable. Of course, they didn't make it too reasonable. They lowered the fine, but it's still too high. But that you hear it over and over. Something is better than nothing. When it comes to the government and us, anything we get out of these fools is good, because they don't give up nothing to us, ever.